Dear students, I am Dr. Chandrakala HT. In this video, under the topic transport layer, I'll be teaching you the duties of transport layer, sockets, and UDP, the user datagram protocol, which works in the transport layer. The transport layer is responsible for end-to-end data transmission on the OSI model as well as on the TCP/IP model. It has several duties to perform, out of which the first duty is multiplexing and demultiplexing. The transport layer will create a distinct network connection for each transmission required by the session layer. So on session layer, several processes will be working and trying to communicate with other processes on the receiving node session layer. So here the session layer requests the transport layer to establish a communication connection for interaction between the processes which are running on the two session layers between the sender and receiver. For this request, the transport layer may either create a dedicated communication virtual connection between each two processes, or it might create a single communication channel in which it multiplexes communications of all the processes which are currently requiring to communicate with their peer processes. So both the ways are possible. So generally, establishing a dedicated network connection for each process will improve throughput, but it will demand high bandwidth. So in practical situations, multiplexing is done by transport layer. It multiplexes several communications, several process communications into one network connection. So if at all multiplexing of the transport connections is done on the sender's transport layer, then demultiplexing has to be done on the receiving transport layer. So demultiplexing means removing these data pertaining to the various processes and separating them, removing them from the communication connection and segregating them and sending it to the appropriate processes is what we call as demultiplexing. So here, when we talk in transport layer, when we talk about communication is happening between two processes and not between two machines, because transport layer is responsible for process to process communication. This picture shows multiplexing and demultiplexing quite beautifully. So this is the source transport layer and this is the destination transport layer. The source transport layer receives requests for communication by the session layer, which is just above it, for three processes: Google, Outlook, and Chatroom. So the communications from these three processes, the data given by these three processes, all three will be taken and it will be combined and put on the same communication channel. So this is called as multiplexing. So the data from these three processes will be multiplexed and they will be put onto the network. These are the data segments from each app. That's how you can consider it. At the receiving side, at the destination transport layer, the layer will take these multiplexed data segments, separate them and deliver it to the appropriate processes. The Google data segment will be sent to Google, Outlook data segment to Outlook, and Chatroom data segment to Chatroom. This is called as demultiplexing. So multiplexing and demultiplexing is one main job of transport layer. The second main duty of transport layer is whenever a session layer gives some data to the transport layer for further transportation, for further transmission through the other layers of the sender and through the communication channel and then to the receiver, if that particular data is big in size, the transport layer will split it up into smaller units or fragments and the process is called as fragmentation. So these fragments will then be passed on to the network layer for further communication. So whenever such fragmentation is done at the sender side, on the receiving side, these fragments will be reassembled. So the sender transport layer will assign sequence numbers for each fragment so that at the receiving side it can be rearranged in the right order and used by the receiving transport layer. That's about fragmentation and reassembly. The third duty of transport layer is to decide the types of services which are to be provided by the session layer. The various types of services which can be provided are reliable, perfectly reliable service, or partially reliable service with some tolerance limits, or completely unreliable service. So here, this is one thing which is to be decided by the transport layer, whether a reliable service is provided. Reliable means connection oriented service with good error control and flow control availability. Unreliable means connectionless service without any error control, and also no acknowledgements are given for data transmission. So that's unreliable service. So a combination of this is a partial reliable service. So the second type of service is the message may or may not be received in the order or not. Okay, so whenever a connection oriented path is established to transmit the fragments created by transport layer, then the message will also be always be received in order at the receiving side. If connectionless protocol is used, the fragments are sent as datagrams without establishing a dedicated path. So all the packets of a single message need not go on the same path. They might have all chance of being received in out of order at the receiving side. So the decision regarding these kinds of type of services is provided by the transport layer whenever it establishes a connection for communication for the sake of session layer. So whenever session layer asks for a connection, the transport layer will decide on what type of service to provide, whether reliable service or connection oriented service or connectionless service. So all these kinds of decisions on types of service is made by the transport layer. The fourth main duty of transport layer is error control. If reliable service is provided, then error detection and error recovery should also be provided. So whenever the transport layer is providing a reliable service, connection oriented data transmission service, it provides for error detection and error recovery. So combination of error detection and error recovery is called as error control, and error control mechanism is provided on end-to-end basis, that is process to process basis on the transport layer. Flow control is yet another function of transport layer. So the flow control function makes sure that a fast host keeps pace with the slower one. So fast host will not be allowed to send at very high speed, send the data at a very high speed when the speed is compared to a slow receiver. So the fast host and slow receiver, both of them will adjust their speed in such a way that data packets will not be lost if flow control mechanism is provided. So basically flow control will regulate the pace or speed of flow of messages between the sender and receiver. The sixth function of transport layer is connection establishment and release. So on behalf of session layer, the transport layer has to establish a connection, and once the data transmission is over, it has to release the connection across the network. So in order to establish and release the connection, the transport layer uses some naming mechanism so that a process on one machine can indicate with whom it wants to communicate. So some naming mechanisms will be used for the processes which have to communicate, and using these names, the process can indicate with which process on the receiver it wants to communicate, and the transport layer will establish the connection between the two named processes. Those were the functions of the transport layer. Now coming to sockets. So whenever a message has to be sent from one process to another, the message has to move through several underlying layers, and there should be a means for the underlying layers to communicate with each other, and that means is the socket. Socket is a software interface which is present in between the between two adjacent layers in the OSI model as well as in the TCP/IP model. So this interface, say for example, a socket exists between the application layer and transport layer in case of TCP/IP model, session layer and transport layer. There is a socket between session layer and transport layer in the OSI model. So through this socket, the two layers can communicate with each other, understand what service is expected by that particular layer. So the programmer will have control over everything which happens before the message is sent through the socket and everything that happens after the message is received from a socket. So sockets can be programmed by the programmers to suit their needs. Next, coming to the to one important protocol which is used on transport layer, the user datagram protocol. The user datagram protocol is a very simple protocol. It's a connectionless protocol. So whenever it has to establish a connection between two communicating processes, it will never establish a physical connection between the two processes. It's a connectionless protocol, and it's not a protocol which provides reliability and security of packets, but it provides the speed and the size of data transfer. Better amount of data can be transmitted over the UDP protocol. So UDP is an end-to-end transport protocol. It will simply take messages to be transmitted, add transport level addresses and checksums for error control, and particularly error detection. Error control means only error detection, and length of information present in the payload, and it will just send the packet to the next upper layer. So it will, UDP will never establish a connection. It will send the packets, say individual packets of a large message need not travel on the same path over the network. Each packet, each individual packet might take a different route and get transmitted over the network. UDP, therefore, it provides for parallel transmission of user datagrams. Hence, the datagrams can be sent across at a higher speed and more number of datagrams can be sent. But the problem is it never takes care of the error recovery. It will only, it can only detect the error, and packets can also be received in out of order at the receiving side. Now coming to the format of user datagrams of the UDP protocol. The datagram of UDP will contain a 16-byte header, out of which 16 bits source port address will be present. Source port address is the address of the process which has delivered a message, and there will be 16-bit destination address as well. This address is the address of the process which will receive the message, and there is 16 bits total length field which indicates the size of the data payload which is present in the user datagram, and a checksum field of 16 bits is used in order to detect error in the data payload. The main disadvantages of UDP protocol is it provides some basic end-to-end data delivery or data transmission, and it will never provide data transmission, ordered data transmission to the receiver. So it will never take care of sequencing and reordering of the data packets. It will simply dump the packets to the receiver, So it's the job of the receiver to check the sequence number of the packet and arrange them in the proper order. And one more disadvantage with UDP is it will only do error detection. It will tell whether the packet is damaged or it has been received correctly. If the packet is damaged, it will never indicate like which part of the packet is damaged and in which part of the data segment is erroneous. So it will only work on error detection and it will never help for error recovery. So this is one of the disadvantage of UDP. So UDP will not provide reliability and security for packets, but it will provide for the size and speed of data transmission. Thank you.